Welcome to episode 161 of Fresh Air at 5. In this episode, we're going to hear a little bit about wellness and AI. We're going to hear a little bit about electric vehicles. We're going to hear some more about AI in the classroom, using it responsibly, from Eric Kurtz. We'll wrap up the week with Mr. Nessie as he shares with us about project-based learning and trying enough. All right, without further ado, here we go. Episode 161, Fresh Air at 5.
Hi, I'm Dr. Greg Owens from the Reimagine Schools podcast, a part of the Education Podcast Network, just like the show you're listening to right now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other interesting education podcasts at edupodcastnetwork.com.
Welcome to Fresh Air at 5, the podcast. I'm your host, Brian Carpenter, coming to you every week from Abbotsford, which is about 45 minutes east of Vancouver, British Columbia, on the west coast of Canada. Fresh Air at 5 is my regular attempt to get some fresh air by walking about my neighborhood, which is located on the traditional and unceded territory of the Stolo people, the Simath First Nation and Mathwee First Nation. I consume podcast content while I walk, then reflect on this content in an unedited video, which I post on my X, formerly known as Twitter, channel every day. This podcast is the collection of the audio taken from those daily selfie videos over the course of a week, Monday to Friday. So let's jump into my listening and learning this past week. Hey PLN, it's March 4, 2024. Good morning to you. As I stepped out the door today, it's snowing. Very lightly, but it's coming down. It's accumulating. And not enough, I don't think, for a threat for snow day, but I'm enjoying being out right now. You know, there's this new road in my neighborhood. It's been gated off because they've been developing that street, and the gates came down last week. There was a new stop sign as a result of that. And I thought, I'm going to drive up there. So I have been driving up this new road, a new way to my house. And this morning, I thought, wow, I forgot my headlamp, but because of the snow on the ground and the light in the sky reflecting, I'll walk down that road. So it was a new way that I went. You know, what do you do about new ways? When there's a new way, do you go the new way? Or do you try the new way? Or do you just, nope, I've never driven on that road before? Well, as I started listening to episode 92 of Science 360 with Tim Stevenson, a friend of mine from Walnut Grove. Actually, he's from Aldergrove, but he works at Walnut Grove Secondary. He talks to us today on episode 92 about AI, about wellness, and about electric vehicles. And the point I'm seeing, Tim, as you're bringing this to us, is that we have to be critical thinkers in our world today and be optimistic about the future, about where things are going to go. You know, I've got my arguments, but they're not based in science about why you wouldn't have an electric vehicle. I've got a gas driving Tacoma, and I like it. But I can't see myself driving into the forest with an electric truck effectively. So that's a thing. I would encourage you to take a listen to Science 360 episode 92, because Tim brings some good points about our use of AI in our world, critical thinking, being the human in the loop with all of these things. Wellness is so important. He talks about some things he's learned there. All right, Tim, have a great day. We'll talk to you. Okay, bye. Okay, I'm not done. One more thing for March 4, 2024. Continuing my thoughts about episode 92 of Science 360. At the end of it, Tim brings us this idea called quorum sensing, and how he has learned that bacteria talk to each other and function as a group and an organism-ish about communicating things going on in their environment. You know, and us being open-minded and mindful and thinking about the future and not scared is a way of us moving it forward, moving our society forward. You know, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. It's true. You know, what do we have to fear? Do we have to fear that our bank accounts will become empty? Or do we have to fear that, you know, we won't have enough to make it? Or do we have to fear that, you know, the planet's not going to make it? You know, I'm not saying that we go sell all of our gas vehicles and get electric vehicles. Tim made a good case for where you can, you should. But if you can't, then don't. And if it's not an economical thing for you to do, then maybe don't do so, right? And that economy is more than just money. It's about the resources. It's about what do you do with your vehicle, things like that. And also AI, you know, we can use AI because it's here in our world today. Are we going to be afraid of it, or are we going to embrace it and see how we can change things? Wellness also, he talked about wellness and vitamin D, getting outside, about the chemicals in the forest that are in the air that are good for us. And partly why Fresh Air at 5 is good for me. I don't walk enough in the pine forest as I'm out for Fresh Air at 5, but I'm getting outside and getting more than not doing it at all. So that's why I'm continuing with episode 161 of Fresh Air at 5 now, and I will continue to do so. All right, that's all I got. Have a great day. Seriously, take care of yourself. Bye. Hey PLN, it's March 6, 2024. Good morning to you. It's -1 and clear. Well, actually there's some high clouds up there, but it's relatively clear and crisp and refreshing. The snow from the other day is gone, and I walked up the new road. So that road I walked down the other day, the new one, I walked up it today. And so I just ran into Bruce and Sophie, and Bruce asked me, he says, "So which way do you prefer to walk?" And I said, "Well, I don't know yet. So I'm going to have to walk it a few more times in each direction to know which is my preference. And then I will probably not do my preference because it's maybe not as hard a work, or maybe it's, I don't know, it depends. So I'll have to look at that." All right, this morning I listened to season 2, episode 24 of Teach Happier, as Suzanne Daly brings us some calendar non-negotiables, things to put in our calendar each year and month and week that are non-negotiable for us. She talks about some weekly practices. She talks about a monthly practice. And then she talks about a couple of annual things that are priorities to her that she puts on her calendar with her family to do certain things. Suzanne, I really like your idea about putting these things in our calendar. You know, church on Sunday, your weekend wish on Thursday. You know, what are you looking forward to in your weekend? Not that work isn't good, but we have to have some of those gems that we're looking forward to. As we go through the month, you know, you talk about, you know, prioritizing time with friends and family, and that we need to do that because if you blink, the month is gone, and who'd you spend time with? And over the course of a year, you have your Facebook fast, and that's incredible that you do that. Good for you. And I don't think I'm at that place yet because I'm just not. And there's also your annual Doyle County pub crawl or something like that you do, and you hang out with your friends and play games and do a lot of fun stuff in the fall. All right, that's all I got. Take a listen to Teach Happier, season 2, episode 24. All right, the last thing for March 7, 2024. No, it's March 6. I listened to episode 177 of Tech Tools for Teachers, and Shanna Martin and Fuzz bring us Diffit, which is an AI classroom teacher helping tool that allows us to differentiate content from content that you have already to content that it can create for you, complete with worksheets and activities and questions and quizzes and all manner of things like that. So it's in beta right now, as Shanna tells us, and she's pretty jazzed and fired up about this. I have touched it a little while ago, but I hadn't jumped in to using it on a regular at all. So it's in beta right now, still free at premium level of function for 60 days. And then after that, it drops off a little bit, but most of the functionality is still there, according to Shanna's report. Glad to hear your voice, Shanna. Always glad. It's encouraging and fun. And Fuzz, thanks so much for being on the pod with your wife. That's a great thing that you two do together. Appreciate it so much. And Shanna, hopefully we'll see you at our fall conference for My PETA coming up in October. All right, take care. Have a great day. And with that, I'm going to go in and I'm going to have one of my morning routines, make a cup of coffee. Okay, bye. Hey, PLN, it's March 7th, 2023. Just getting back to home here after a walk around the mountain at around 5 o'clock p.m. in the evening. So Fresh Air 5 still going on. It's a little lighter than typical when you see my videos. But today I listened to a very engaging conversation about artificial intelligence and the responsible use of AI in the classroom between Jen Giffen, the host of Shooks and Gift podcast, on season 7, episode 4, and guest Eric Kurtz, the man himself. And so good to hear your voice again, Eric. It's been a while, and it seems like it was just yesterday that you were in Abbotsford at the Berry Best Summit. But that was a long time ago. That was like 4-5 years ago, maybe even more. 6 years ago now. Wow, time has flown. Anyhow, thank you, Eric, for giving us your perspective about responsible use of AI in the classroom. On season 7, episode 3, Tom Mullaney talked with Jen Giffen about AI in the classroom and the Eliza effect. And I like how, Eric, you wrapped up this discussion today about talking about the Eliza effect and how the Eliza effect can give us more impetus to talk with and interact with this technology that is merely a tool, but we need to be critical thinkers of the technology and do not just take it for face value, but be evaluators and critical thinkers. I've been talking to my students about this, and it's so important that we grow our students and don't let them just get away with going, oh yeah, that's the answer. Check it out. Appreciate all the resources, Eric. I've got some homework to do now. I'm going to share this podcast with a number of people around here. And I do want to say thank you for the time that you've taken to share with us on the Shooks and Gift podcast, reaching all the way out to Abbotsford, BC in British Columbia, Canada. All right. That's all. Thanks, Jen. Appreciate you very much. Okay, bye. Morning, PLN. It is Friday, March 8, 2024. Out for Fresh Air 5 today. And actually, you know what? It's been raining a little bit, so I haven't been out super long. But and I'm not wearing my raincoat because I was sitting inside the house, and I thought I'd come outside and record, so it was a little more authentic. But now I just let you in on my secret, so it's not authentic anymore at all. Anyhow, it's nice to get some fresh air this morning, a little bit, even stepping outside. This morning I listened to episode 242 of the House of EdTech with Chris Nessie, and he brings us an episode called How EdTech Can Help and Support Project-Based Learning. And this is not a new topic, but Chris, you do a good job of summarizing all the things to consider as we do project-based learning and the places that EdTech can help from beginning to end, from collaboration to critical thinking, from assessment to, presentation and all of the things. The last thing, continuing my thoughts on episode 242 of the House of EdTech and all of the things. So good to hear you talk about these things and put them in one spot. Now we've got a resource, episode 242 of the House of EdTech, that we can share with a colleague to go, hey, check this out. You could do some things and you don't have to do all these things. That's the thing. People look at this and go, I can't do that because Chris just said, I don't know, 15 to 20 EdTech tools to consider, but we don't have to use them all. We have to use the ones that work for us. All right, back to the top of this episode. Chris asks a very introspective question. Am I trying enough? And Chris Nessie, I don't think I've seen someone not trying at all. In you, I see someone that tries. I see someone that does and does. And, we can ask that question of ourselves. Are we trying enough? I think that if we come home at the end of the day and we are tired from an honest day's effort that we've put in, that we're trying enough. So I heard that back when I was a co-op student back in university from one of the owners of the company. And I still believe that to this day. I think I'm trying enough. I'm doing some things. I'm podcasting. I'm part of my PETA. I'm going to the Ministry of Education. I'm doing a lot of things. And am I doing them all excellently? I'm trying. And that's what we need to keep on doing, is keep on trying. All right, this went long. So I'm going to have to split this into 2 pieces. And that's all I got for today. Okay, thanks.
I appreciate you giving me a listen as I've created this podcast experience for you. It's like a unique Blinkist or Coles Notes version of the content I take in, like a highlight reel, so that you can hopefully find some other interesting podcasts you may not have considered before. I've recorded the specific episode podcast titles and episode numbers in the show notes, which are only a click or swipe away for your learning convenience. I've also started to put together a Spotify playlist of each of the episodes so that you can also take a listen to those specifically, and the link to that playlist is in the show notes. Please subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming episodes. And if you enjoyed this podcast and its format, share it with someone else. You can also follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Brian Carr, BRYONCAR, or at Fresh Air at 5. Tweet about your experience or give it a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. Fresh Air at 5 can be found on the Educational Podcast Network. Podcasts for educators, podcasts by educators. I hope you have a fantastic day. Get some fresh air before the day is out and take care of yourself, because you are worth it.